me know also if you are having a hard time seeing the content. I can try to make things a little bit larger as we go on. Or if there's something that you maybe want to repeat or you want a little bit more of an explanation on, we should have a little bit of time towards the tail end of the training to go over the Q&A and answer any questions that might have been asked. You also don't have to worry about your microphone or your camera, as this is a live event and those won't be in use. Finally, last thing and last reminder here, make sure that you have the audio turned up so you can hear me speaking and that you've enabled the closed captions if you need them to follow along. Now, my name is Richard, and I will be your trainer for today. I'm also here with Jose, who will be supporting us in the Q&A and also be on the other side of the personas, the person I'll be talking to during today's training. Now, our agenda is pretty simple. We're first going to start off with really the Microsoft Teams mobile application. We'll be looking at how we could use this to stay productive regardless of where we are and the different features and settings that we can utilize inside of the mobile app and how actually truly powerful it is. We'll then move on to Outlook, OneDrive, the Office app, and OneNote Mobile. And we'll really be taking a look at those holistically and really kind of diving into each one and how we can use them to stay productive. So let's go ahead and let's move on to today's training. And we'll see here that I have my mobile device all spun up and ready to go. And for today's training, I'm actually going to take on a little bit of a persona. I'm going to be taking on the persona of Isaiah. And right now, Isaiah is stuck in traffic. We're going to see it's basically 9:05, and he knows that he has a meeting coming up here pretty soon. And he's going to want to kind of use his mobile device here to contact some of his colleagues, make sure that he can kind of communicate in meetings and really be able to stay productive while he's stuck in traffic. So the first thing that Isaiah is going to do is he's going to catch up on his day. He's already running 5 minutes behind, and he's going to get going with his work. So he'll go ahead and open up Microsoft Teams. Now, the first thing that Isaiah is going to do when he opens up Teams is he's going to look at the bottom bar. And this bottom bar here is kind of like that left-hand rail inside of Microsoft Teams. It shows us our most commonly used applications or our most common spaces, the activity where we can see the app mentions and notifications, our chats where we have our one-on-one chats and our group chats. We have Teams where Isaiah can check in on the different channels and teams that he's a part of. And we also have our calendar here, which will show Isaiah's day in full and let him interact with specific meetings. We also have our More button here. And inside of the More button, you'll find some of the other apps that you may be more used to on the left-hand side. Some of the ones that you probably might be using would be like Files or Task by Planner. We won't be going over those today, but I recommend that you check out what apps you have available because they can help you stay productive as well. So the first thing Isaiah is going to do is he's going to come down and he's going to check his activities. Isaiah is going to be looking for any likes, replies, app mentions, and he can scroll through this, but we can see that he's definitely had a lot of interaction with Adele here. But if he wanted to filter his notifications, maybe by a specific type, he could use the filter button right up here at the top. Now, this allows him to sort by app mentions, which is a great way to be able to filter out where you were, where Isaiah was specifically called out. Kind of like to think of app mentions as like a tap on the shoulder, but we can also go for the replies or missed calls. Now, Isaiah doesn't see anything new here, but we do see that we have some chats that we missed. So let's go ahead and let's look at our chats. We can see that Adele has already shared a file inside of a meeting and that Adele has actually reached out to him. So let's open up our message with Adele. And it looks like this message was probably from a while back, but you know what? Isaiah is probably going to need to contact Adele here just to let her know that he's running a little bit behind. So this is going to be really easy. He's going to say, hey, Adele, and he's going to mention Adele here, just like we would in our desktop app. I'm running a little behind. How many people are joining the meeting later? And there we go. Now, as we can see, we actually have a lot of different commands that Isaiah can utilize here to take advantage of his messaging here. To the left of our messaging box, we can click the plus button, and this is where we can attach files, pictures. We can essentially use all those messaging extensions that we're really used to inside of our Teams environment. And then to the right, we also have the dictation button. And right here, the dictation tool will probably help Isaiah stay productive if maybe he has to actually put his hands on the wheel and start talking. Now we can see that Adele has responded, hey, there's 12 people registered. Thanks so much, Adele. So Isaiah's going to go ahead and react to this message. He's going to do this he's going to do this so that he can kind of non-verbally say that, hey, I saw this or I like this. And I see a question came in. Is there any reason to use the @ function since this is only going to Adele? And that's actually a great question. @ mentioning actually provides this notification. So it's more than just a number in our chat, especially if we have a lot of chats going on. This might be a higher number. Think of like the unread number in your inbox. But if you were @ mentioned, that means that someone is directly trying to message you, and it actually shows up right here in your feed, which is a great way to kind of sort through what's important. So whoever asked that, thank you. That's a great question. So he's @ mentioned Adele here. And there's more actions that we can take here than just reacting. If we long press, we'll see that we also have the ability to copy, reply, save, and also use more actions here. But probably the most important one that Isaiah might find important or useful is the save function. Now, saving essentially bookmarks this message so that we could go back and find these messages a lot easier down the road. While he's mobile, he may not necessarily have the full desktop real estate to maybe research a question that was asked, or he may not be able to quickly or agilely get back to this message. By bookmarking it, this actually groups it up together with all the other saved messages, and he can review that at a later time on his desktop. Now, I'm a big fan of chats and group chats. One thing that you probably don't know about Isaiah is that he's not necessarily the fastest typer, especially when it comes to a mobile phone. So what Isaiah will probably want to do is go ahead and call Adele. Now, if we look at the top of our chat, we see our video call button and our audio call. Now, I'm not expecting Adele to pick up right now, but let's just go ahead and click on it, and we'll see that it basically turns our phone into an actual phone now, and we can start that voice chat with Adele. We'll go ahead and hang up for now. We don't need Adele to answer. Now, our chat here in our Teams Mobile has some other cool little tricks up its sleeve that can help us stay productive and help Isaiah stay productive while he's on the go. Maybe he's actually kind of stepped out of the office and he's taking a walk, or he's been cooped up at home and he wants to get some fresh air while he's working on some things. If we look at our ongoing chat with Adele, we could see there's a lot of conversation that's going on. And sometimes we just want to get back to that file that maybe Adele shared with us down in the past. We can utilize the tabs across our chat, just like we would utilize the tabs inside of Teams on our desktop, to quickly sort through all the files and maybe pull up that file here real fast right inside of Teams. No need to open up another app. This is great for reviewing those documents, spreadsheets, or a presentation, maybe before you're getting ready for that meeting. We also see our More tab here, and this is where we can integrate other tabs. We won't go over that today because it's not really not quite the focus of today's training. So let's go ahead and let's move Isaiah on. We'll just say he's still stuck in traffic, and he knows by checking his calendar, he has a meeting coming up, and it's a presentation review. So what is Isaiah going to do? He can't necessarily join this meeting right now. He could be literally walking into the office, or it's going to take him a little bit of time to find parking. Isaiah should probably let the people know in this presentation review meeting, hey, I'm running a little bit behind. So what Isaiah is going to do is he's going to go ahead and tap on the meeting itself. And then Isaiah is going to utilize the tabs across the top. He's going to head to the chat. And he's going to come in and we'll just say, hey, everyone, I'm just arriving at the office, or I'm just, say I just landed at the office. I might be a little late. You know, at Adele. Can you host for the time being? And just like that, he can start communicating and working inside of this meeting. He doesn't need to send a message to Adele on the side. It keeps everyone in this meeting on the loop. And even if there was a conversation going on, maybe there was pre-work, like we could see that Adele had shared out this presentation that we're going to be going over during the meeting. Isaiah can use this time to still review the information and stay in the know. Now, it's come down to the time. Isaiah just cannot find an empty desk to work at, or maybe the internet's out. He's going to have to join this meeting from his mobile device so that he can stay and still be a part of the meeting. To join, he just simply has to click the join button. We can also jump into our meeting and join here. And when he joins, he'll have a couple of options that he can use to kind of make sure that his experience inside this team is just what he likes. Now, joining with his video on or off or muted is totally up to him. And when we click on the speaker button, we actually get to pick the device that we're using. So whether the audio is off as a whole, or maybe he has a Bluetooth speaker or that fancy like new headset that he has that he wants to use instead of whatever maybe Teams decided to pick by default. For now, just so that we don't hear any background noise or any artifacts, I'm going to go ahead and keep the audio off, and then we can join now. The arrow below here is for dialing in or joining with your audio off or adding a room. Now, once Isaiah has joined this meeting, he has the same actions that he's had before, just like he would on his desktop. We can see the command bar at the bottom where he can unmute, he can turn on his camera, or he can switch audio devices or hang up. And at the top, we'll see quick links to the chat and the people. Let's continue on our chat here. He's going to go ahead and say, hey, everyone, I'll be mobile today. He can still participate in this meeting, and whatever screen share or whoever's on video is in this floating window. He can quickly jump back to this meeting by either selecting the bar at the top or clicking on this box here and opening it up. We can see that Isaiah can also come in and see who is exactly in this meeting. By clicking on the people, he can come in and see who's in the meeting. He can mute or unmute people as needed. He can also call in people or have the people that maybe were invited to join and just quickly call them in. Now, I know Megan and Alan are actually not backed by anyone. We can see that they're currently not available, so I don't expect them to respond. Now, these are our quick actions, our chat and our people. But if we click on the three dots at the bottom of the meeting, we get more things that we can do. And some of these are the same things that we see in our normal meetings. The ability to react with an applause or a heart or a laugh, those are all available to us here, as well as raising our hand. You'll see that Isaiah can be a part of this meeting just like anybody else. We can go ahead and put down our hand. We'll also see that we have our content buttons. Now, this is where we have our people and our chat, but he can also come in and share. Maybe he wanted to share a PowerPoint, or he wanted to share something that he found on his phone. Maybe he's doing a phone demo for his team. He can go ahead and actually share his mobile screen right here. We'll also see our different views. Now, because there's only one person here, he only has a gallery, but it is possible to kind of shuffle the videos around and the shared content in a meeting. You would simply just either click on the picture or the video of the person that you want to focus on, and the phone will dynamically shift the video and content around to match. Now, the other things that we'll see here inside of this three dots here are the different kind of more the lesser used aspects of our meetings. So things like turning on live captions, chat bubbles, starting the recording, things like that. These are all found here inside of the three dots. Now, Isaiah's done a great job in this meeting. He was able to contribute and be a part of it. Let's go ahead and let's end this. I'm going to go ahead and click on the end button. And now we're back to our meeting. Or sorry, we're back to our teams. This has been a really productive use of his time so far, but now I think it's probably best if Isaiah can actually come in and kind of manage his presence inside of teams and also manage the teams themselves. So let's head out of our meeting and let's look at the different ways that Isaiah can kind of present himself to the rest of the team. Usually when the rest of the team is looking at us on Teams, they'll see our profile picture and then the little status icon. This is letting our team know in a verbal or actually non-verbal way, what exactly is Isaiah doing? Is he busy? Is he available? Did he step away? Is he in a meeting? Is he focusing? Isaiah can change this on demand by clicking on his profile picture and then clicking on the current status, in this case, in a meeting. From here, he can set himself to available, or maybe he wants to appear offline because he knows that he doesn't want to be disturbed. Either way, whichever one he decides to pick, we can always reset our status, and this will set our status back to whatever it should be based off of our calendar. Now, the status indicator dot on our profile picture is a really immediate way for us to see if someone's available or busy. But if we need to set a more extended message, or maybe provide people additional information like, hey, Isaiah's mobile today, expect a delayed response. We could do that through a set status message. By clicking on the set status message here, we can write our own custom status message. In this case, Isaiah can say, I'm working mobile today. Please expect a delayed response. And then Isaiah can also mention other people here if he wanted to kind of easily direct people to maybe someone who can respond faster if there's an emergency. But we'll leave this as is for now. The one thing that Isaiah will want to make sure to do is to enable this show when people message me. This way, that message appears at the bottom of a chat or a group chat or a channel if they're being app mentioned or just talked to. The last thing that Isaiah can do is make sure to set a time to clear this specific message. You'll see that by default, messages only last until the end of the day. But Isaiah can click on this and choose a specific time. Maybe Isaiah is going to be going for that walk and he'll be back in an hour. He can set it for an hour or for 4 hours or whatever custom time that he like. Now this looks good. I'll go ahead and click the little check mark. And now when I hit my back button, we should see my message persist. We'll go ahead and clear this off and update it. And now we've cleared our message. Now, the next thing that we'll want to do, that Isaiah is going to want to do, is also manage the notifications that appear when on his mobile device. And here we can see the notifications line. Now, there are a ton of different ways that we can customize notifications inside of Teams. And we're not going to go through everything, but you'll see that in our top little group here where it says notify me for, we can come in and be extremely granular on what we're being notified about, whether it's a call or a channel notification, or if we were app mentioned or someone reacted to our message. We can find those all here, and they're broken up into the general activity, channels, and meetings. The more important one that I find is the block notifications. You'll see the ability here to block notifications on a set time frame and set days, and also when you're active on your device or your mobile or when you're in a meeting. To utilize the time-based one, we simply set our quiet time. Now, in this case, you'll see that Isaiah already has his quiet time turned on, but in case yours isn't, it'll look like this. We can go ahead and check the little tab here, and then we pick when we want our quiet time to start and end. Usually, we want it to start when our workday is over. And in this case, for Isaiah, that'll be 5 p.m. And Isaiah starts at 8 a.m. every morning. So he'll make sure to have his quiet time his quiet time end at 8 a.m. He can also come in and select specific days if he doesn't work a traditional Monday through Friday. Then, to make sure that his weekends are completely clear of notifications and he doesn't have to worry about anything work-related hitting his device, we can enable the all day. And that'll make sure that his weekends are completely silent. And we can Isaiah can actually just sit back and relax on the weekend. All right, so let's go ahead and let's head back. Now that he set his quiet time, we also have the when active on desktop. Now, if anyone here has used Teams Mobile, they may have run into a situation where you get pinged or app mentioned on your desktop and you hear it go off. And then you hear your mobile phone go off too. To me, that can be a little bit jarring. So you might want to turn on this when active on desktop. And we'll see that when you're considered active on your desktop, your phone remains silent and the notifications don't go to your phone. They'll stay contained to your desktop. But if you, for instance, maybe you get up and you take an impromptu walk, maybe you take a break and you leave your computer idle and you become inactive, then the notifications will start landing on your phone. All right. So I see a question in here. In the desktop application, when a user isn't actively in Teams, the status goes away after 5 minutes, even if the computer is still in use. Does the mobile app work in a similar way? Yes, it will. The mobile app here should work in should work in the same way. All right. So we've been looking at how Isaiah can kind of manage his presence, whether it's through a a status here, setting a status message and his notifications. But now it's time that he kind of manages his team's experience. So we'll head over to our teams area. And the first thing that I notice here with Isaiah, and Isaiah probably feels it too, there are just a ton of teams and channels that he's a part of. And that's going to make it pretty hard for Isaiah to stay productive when there's this huge list to work off of. The first thing that Isaiah is going to want to do is kind of narrow down the list of teams that he actually wants to be, that he wants visible while he's on his mobile device. Now we can edit that by clicking the three dots in the top right-hand corner of the app. From here, we can head to Manage Teams. And we have a checkbox here that lets us remove teams that we don't want to see. This doesn't remove Isaiah from the team at all. We still have access to them and we can still re-show them. But this will just make sure that the list of teams that he sees are the ones that are most important to him. There we go. Another thing that Isaiah can do to help manage his team's experience here in his mobile app is to pin specific channels to the top. We can see that he's already pinned the go-to-market plan. So how would you pin a channel here? Well, let's say that he wants to pin this monthly reports channel. He would first open this up and then use the three dots at the top right-hand corner of the channel and then pin the channel. Now, when Isaiah heads back to his team's list, we can see those channels are pinned right up at the top. And he can get to these incredibly quickly without having to search through his team's list. All right. I know it's been about 30 minutes, and we've seen how Isaiah can stay productive inside of Teams, whether it's chatting with a colleague, joining a meeting or communicating that meeting, or just managing his teams and his notifications. So let's step out of Teams for the time being, and let's move into other apps that Isaiah can use to stay productive while he's on the go. The next app that